Welcome back to the conversation. I'm New Brateau. The conversation, we talk to different candidates. We have a big election coming up, November 7th. So definitely we got to have a chance to get to know our candidates and get to know their issues. We are here with another wonderful candidate, Anna Oliver,
Oliver.
school committee, running for school committee, Ward 3. First and foremost, thank you for coming on.
Thank you for having me today.
Anna, just talk about, for people who don't know you, who are you and why are you running for school committee?
I am a Cape Verdean. I was born in Cape Verde. I moved here when I was 7.5 from Cape Verde. My family decided to come to Brockton. Half of my family was already here. I'm an immigrant. I know exactly the struggles that immigrant children have once they come to America. I'm also a mom of three. My oldest is in college at U Chicago. I have middle child. She's 12. She's at South, and I have a younger child who's 9, who also has autism. So I know the difficulty of handling child with disabilities. I know the difficulty of having child who's very perfectionist and wants to always have an A. And I'm also a registered nurse. I've been a nurse for 11 years. I've worked as an oncology nurse, psych nurse, detox nurse, on tele units, med surg. I worked the whole COVID unit for 2 years. And I've also been a school nurse for 8 years.
So let's unpack that a little bit. So talk about some of those qualifications and does that make you qualified and ready to join the school committee? To talk about why your life experience and why it's made you ready for the school committee.
The reason why wanted to run and got in this election is definitely for the children. I know that the experience that each child has experienced in Brockton school system. I know what I experienced growing up in the Brockton school system, and I think I can bring a lot of what I've lived and what my kids have lived so far to help other kids in the Brockton school system. When it comes to bullying, my child has gone through that for 4 years, and I know how to basically reach out to the leaders, the educators, and how we can solve the issues. I've also dealt with IEP, and I've learned with the SPED department, and I've dealt with it with my child, and had to take him out in pre-K to put him in a private school to deal with his difficulties of learning, and every day is a struggle. So I know there's a lot of parents out there dealing with the same issues that I'm dealing with.
Talk about your vision. If you get elected to the school committee, what would be a vision? And obviously, you're one of seven, so it's a team, and I guess eight because the mayor is the chair. What would you like to, some things you like to kind of accomplish or maybe tackle your first term?
I definitely want to tackle the issues we're having with lack of educators in the school system, especially affecting the kids with the in the SPED department. That's a major issue when our kids are not being educated correctly, and we don't have the finest educators there, and we don't have the resource that we need for those kids. We definitely need to find a way how to bring educators, the finest educators, back into the school system.
And how do you attract them? Because I'm going to speak from experience. I think what's making teachers hesitant to join the
Hmm.
school system, and I'm a teacher too, and I teach in the Lynn school system. What makes teachers hesitant is they're hesitant of being laid off or not being compensated
Hmm.
what they should be. Is that the reason? And how would you help attract teachers like me who left Brockton?
I think the same issues that we're having right now with the nursing profession is the burned out. Teachers are burned out, and they're not having the enough support from the parents and from the leaderships. And definitely, money does make a big difference when we're not paying them the same as Boston school system, and giving them the resource and the support that they need to stay here. If they're not getting the proper resources and support from leadership, they're going to walk away. If they feel burned out, if they feel like they're not supported enough to educate each child, they're going to walk away. And especially if you keep giving them the pink slip and they invested in Brockton, they moved here with their family, and now we're like, sorry, you got to go. That's not something we want to keep doing every year. So we need to find ways to fund the educating system.
I do want to talk about the issue everyone's talking about, $14 million. Um, as a school committee is taking a lot of heat
Hmm.
with this. Is it warranted the criticism they're getting? Is there something maybe you would have done differently? I know it's easy to play Monday morning quarterback, but that's just the reality of what it is. Is it something that you have done differently? Some safeguards that you think are missing in the school system? I want you to speak about that. Is the school committee at blame for this deficit?
It's very hard to say because when you sit back and watch some of these meetings, trying to figure out who is responsible, who basically didn't check and balance everything and see where the money's going and thought they had more money than they was spending. I think is responsible for it. Somebody was not doing the check and balance correctly. And when you're dealing with that magnitude of budget, $14 million, that's a lot. Somebody was just spending thinking that there was money there when there wasn't. I think that everybody is at fault to some part in this because somebody missed the ball and did not check what they needed to be checked.
I think, and I agree. I think it's an opportunity where some reflection, some self-reflection. I guess on everybody, right?
Yes,
Needs to happen, and even the residents,
I
because
agree.
how many people do you see at the school committee meetings?
I agree.
On a good
Nobody
day,
comes out.
right? No one comes out. On a regular day, maybe 10 or 15 people.
It took the $14 million deficit for families to come out, residents to come out, parents to speak, and also when they had an issue about the uniform changes and the cell phone restrictions. That's when everybody was at bar. Everybody came out and spoke about it, but we need parents to be there every single time and letting their voice be heard.
Let's talk about that. Let's talk about some policies that they wanted to implement a dress code and things like issuing yonders and things, and that's not happening as smoothly, from what I understand. How do you feel? Are there some policies, particularly at the high school, that you think need to be in place to turn on the high school and bring it back to what it was? When I went back when I was in high school. What are some policies you think that need to be in place to turn around Brockton High School?
I graduated in 97 from Brockton High. And when I graduated, the code was really strict. And that's when something we walked away from. And another reason is because we are shortage of teachers and educators, and they're burned out. They don't have time to be enforcing dress codes when they're trying to educate your child. It also starts at home. We have to see what our kids are wearing, who are they influenced by, and who are they hanging around with, so we can help the teachers to better educate our kids and enforce the rules in the school. And a lot of the kids, we cannot take away their expression of how they want to wear and what they want to wear, as long it is modest and not showing body parts. I remember like 2 years ago, I went to go pick up my daughter, and I walked in. I was like, "Are we having a club at the school?" Like I would not allow my child to wear stuff like that. And it's something we as parents have to start at home.
What separates you from your opponents that are running? I mean, there's some good opponents running.
Yes.
They're all, I think well-intentioned people. Why you? Why should they vote for you?
The reason why I think residents of Ward 3 should vote for me, I am a mother, I'm an educator. I come with experience of just dealing with the kids in different aspects of life, walking different paths to Brockton school system, and I know what they've been through. I know what they continue to go through, and I know what's happening in those schools because my daughter tells me everything. And those are the things that we not only focus at Brockton High to change things, we got to change the mindset in the middle schools because they're starting there. The vaping is starting in middle school. The drug use is starting in middle school. The dress inappropriate is starting in middle school, and it's moving into Brockton High. If we can catch it early and educate everyone, I think we can change what's going on in Brockton High.
I think what's so special about you is that clearly you're involved
Yeah.
in the schools. How do you get more involvement within the parents? Because again, it's teachers, it's parents, it's administrators, and it's not just. And again, I'm speaking from a teacher. There's only so much a teacher can do if they're maybe not getting what they need at home. How do you get more of the parents engaged on a school community level? What would you do?
We need to have every ward should have more meetings monthly, not just the school committee. We should have residents involved. We should have monthly meetings and find out what their thought process is, what's going on, because parents will hear more what's going on in school by their children and then by a school committee. So the more we know what's going on in school by our children, we can have meetings monthly and try to change certain things and bring it to the school committee and be like, well, this is happening. How can we fix this? If a fund is lacking, how can we get more funds? Especially like now with the school, with the music department, we have to find ways to fund that because it does help a lot of kids.
We have maybe a couple minutes left. I do want to touch upon this now. It's funny, we're talking off air. I was talking to Elliot Texera off air, and are there enough options in Brockton for our our high schoolers in particular. I mean, we have one major high school, and we have some other high schools that are smaller. We have Promise High School; they do good work over there. We have
They do.
Frederick Douglass. Are there enough options for our students to go to different areas if they don't want to go to Brockton High School? If no, how do we go about doing that?
There's not a lot of options, and I think a lot of kids are not going to college. They want to do a lot of like trade school. We need to find ways that we don't have to send our kids to Southeastern or other schools, or for them to unenroll and go to a school that does a lot of tech, so like nursing or mechanics or engineer. But we need to find a space to relocate that and find teachers that's willing to educate those trades.
You know, Brockton High is still, I believe, it might be at, I think, top three, at least top five in terms of population of
Yes.
schools east of the Mississippi.
It sure is.
So it's definitely, it's a mini college campus. So voters are going to the voters booth, whether they're voting early or voting on November 7th. They have a decision to make. Why should they circle the bubble under your name?
We as a community, we need to unite. We can't keep pointing fingers at each other's educators, parents, and leaders. We need to keep the focus on the children, because the more we fight and they watch us fighting, this is going to impact their future. And if we keep doing this, our generation to come is going to keep failing, and it's going to be our fault that they're failing. And they're competing with kids throughout Massachusetts and throughout the United States to go to the bad school. And I got one of mine to go to Chicago. And we can definitely get our kids out there.
I think that's a great message that, that you're a success story, your students are a success story. It's an opportunity for, to have an advocate on the school community. Well, listen, I wish you the best of luck.
Thank you.
On the election, and that is it for the conversation. I want to tell them to still tune in and subscribe to our YouTube page, Newey Productions, or like our Facebook page, Newey Productions, and just tune into what we're doing. Where we focus on doing documentaries, and we're going to focus on a documentary in the next couple months. We're going to make some announcements. So if you guys want to donate to our documentary cause, feel free to go on our website, newbieproductions.com, and hit donate, and we would greatly appreciate it. That is it for the conversation. We'll see you for more interviews.